will speak into these issues of inequality. Over taxation, unemployment of young people. Because if there is something that is that is really going to put this country on the edge are those three key aspects: unemployment, inequalities among our people, and then issues that touch on governance, particularly issues that touch on corruption in our public offices. Those three will inform not just where we have come from, but where we are going as we get closer to 2027 during the coming elections. And I hope that our leaders will look into this issue and see what is one of the greatest immediate solutions to give. We are sitting on a time bomb. A country with 65% young people of our total population, we are actually sitting on a ticking time bomb, just like many other countries in Africa. Examples that we have seen in a number of countries in Africa and outside, from Madagascar to Morocco, from Morocco to Nepal. If we don't do something and do it like yesterday, then we face challenges that actually pose a serious threat into the existence of this as one country, if you asked me.
And Kiri, talking about the young voices, yesterday you launched a manifesto, dubbed Manifesto Yetu, which is a conglomerate of the voices of the youth. How much does that address the question of corruption, the high cost of living, mismanagement generally, which has been a key trend that has underpinned different administrations since independence?
Wonderful. You realize that for a long time, the young people's political participation has been reduced to two things: one-liners and slogans. Anything beyond that usually is that then it is the procurement of young people as purveyors of violence. Well, but looking at the country, you realize that there are deep structural issues that young people need to take keen interest in. Because you look at how the political class sometimes have framed the political debate and conversation in this country, and so much is left to be desired. For instance, I'll tell you, I come from a place called Luonyanza. The biggest political debate in that region right now is who is going to emerge as kingpin.
Post-Raila.
Post-Raila. And you see, that is, again, a disservice to our people. Because I don't think a kingpin is what our people want. Our people want services. They want immediate intervention in their lives. They want to see the use of government power to address some of the challenges that are confronting them. If you come to the national debate, while there is a conversation about privatization of state-owned enterprises, young people, you don't hear their voices properly in those areas. So I think one of the things that the government has done or that the government finds itself in, the situation the government finds itself in, is what they call the 10-point agenda.
Yeah.
The 10-point agenda, I think, is their most intelligent attempt to engage in a programmatic policy dialogue. But that conversation is taking place among the elite. So then as young people, we took charge after 2024 and 2025 to, one, document the frustrations of the young people. Two, also document their highest aspirations on how they want this country governed. In that document, I'm sorry I didn't carry it,
yes,
I will provide a copy. Young people have indicated that, one, this manifesto is not what the adults think the young people need. It is what the young people have decided that they must do for themselves. The question of inclusion, the question of providing opportunity, the question of healthcare, like question of mental health, is one of the things that are coming up very strongly. But young people are saying on the governance and security front, because we've got 4 pillars, so there is a pillar called governance and security. Young people are saying that if we do not let institutions work, if we don't wage substantive war against corruption, if we do not give everyone an opportunity, a fair opportunity to engage, to build, to live in this country, and substantive opportunity is on the economic front and political front, then they're saying that it will be difficult to say we have a country in the next 1 decade. So some of these trends must be reversed. We must reverse the war against corruption by substantively engaging in it, not the lip service that sometimes has come from the politician. And those are some of the things the young people are saying.
Yeah, and yes, Dr.
You know, I wanted to add something to what my brother is saying. How do we explain, for example, the situation that he has referred to in Luoyansa, that we are always expecting leaders to emerge, so-called kingpins. This is basically because as a country, our political culture and our political ethos are at the most basic level. Sometimes it becomes very interesting when you look at people in the region, Uganda and Tanzania and many other countries. They think Kenya, we are much higher in terms of our political awareness. But we have not graduated from the basic levels of political participation, and political organization and mobilization. Nations or groups that have not done so, they are always looking for a savior among our politicians. And our politicians understood that. And of all the people, the late Honorable Prime Minister understood that. He knew that our people are still looking for the savior. That's why he will coach his politics in the language of the Exodus story in the Bible, and he will call himself Joshua to help us cross over the Jordan and conquer Canaan, wherever that was in his imagery. So despite the triumph of political continuity that we have witnessed as a country, in a region that is not characterized by political tempests, if you will, despite the economic resilience and the entrepreneurial vitality that you witness among us, that in the region you can run from our tea farms to tech companies and all that. The cultural diplomacy and global presence that our runners have brought us, which are actually people who have conquered distance, and Trump recognized them the other day. We are still at that basic level. So what we need, particularly among the young people, is awareness rising, and that's why I like what the organization is doing. Awareness rising. For example, our young people can be in the streets. They can be hired to do a few things. But when it comes to the day of reckoning, that is the day of go out and vote a leader who will lead you to where you want. We don't go to vote, and if we do it on ethnic lines, not on what an individual is going to deliver to us. I'm not a prophet, but I will guarantee you that the 2027 elections will be actually dealt with in the levels of ethnicity as we have always done. So that, in my view, is where our problem is. And it can be sorted out if we try to change our social DNA from overly ethnicized people to people who look at our plight and welfare first, and then all these other things, ethnic identity, will come second. That's why I have said before in this forum, that's why we have ended up as a nation in not creating wealth. We create assets. We don't create really leaders who drive ideologies. We create leaders who drive identities.
Good.
Who are leaders because they are one of our own.
Yes.
You know, if you go through our communities, you have all these sayings which go that hata we mbaya ni yetu. You come to my village, we always say wanyene mbali we itera.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't kill one of your own.
Yes.
Kidi, before I come to you, let me again get hold of Seth Olale, who is at the Nyayo National Stadium. Seth, again, back to you. What have you been able to establish where you are at the moment, given your constant maneuver around the Nyayo National Stadium?
Well, my maneuvers, Ayub, have brought me outside the stadium. I'm right now at this particular section where many more attendees are just making their way inside the venue. And right now, I also want to show you what's just happening outside the Nyayo National Stadium. There's a lot of activities. We're talking about vending as well. And, you know, the attendees who are just making their way inside the stadium are also getting an opportunity to purchase a number of items. We're talking about flags, we're talking about scarves, but also some sort of refreshment. So what you're seeing right now behind me is this particular gentleman has been here since 6 a.m. just trying to, you know, sell merchandise. And I'm just going to have a moment with him at this particular moment. Hebu tueleze unaitwa nani?
Kwa majina najulikana kama Bifo Nyakundi. Mimi natoka Kisii. Mimi nimefurahia kwa siku hii ya leo kwa sababu naona Wakenya wamechangamuka, serikali iko imara, inaendelea kufanya kazi. Kusema kweli sahihi, ile mateso tulikuwa tunapitia, kumbe jamaa alikuwa anarainisha Kenya.
Hebu tueleze umeweza kuuza nini hii leo na unauza pesa ngapi?
Mimi nauza bendera, nauza na firimbi na vuvuzela. Kwa leo wenyewe kazi haijakuwa sawa, lakini nimefanya. Siwezi kukaa kwa nyumba bure. Nimepata at least kidogo.
Hiyo kidogo umepata, kuna bendera, kuna firimbi, kuna vuvuzela. Tueleze unauza bendera pesa ngapi, vuvuzela pesa ngapi?
Bendera nauza na vuvuzela nauza na dhirichwani na firimbi.
Yani so ni 100.
So ni 100 ya.
Dhirichwani ni ngapi?
Ni 350. Ya, na firimbi ni chwani. Yeah.
Well, okay, thank you, all the best, even as you engage more and more attendees. But apart from this particular vendor, we also have some who are also selling what? Sweets, biscuits. Hebu tueleze tu unaitwa nani?
Mimi naitwa Martin.
Martin, hebu tuambie leo biashara ikoaje? Tumeona umekuja hapa mapema, kufikia sasa biashara ikoaje na unauza pesa ngapi?
Mimi naona sasa hii biashara si mbaya. Huko nje wananunua, although wametukazia kwenda kule ndani, lakini hapa nje wananunua. Huko nje ndio ndani ndio tunahitaji sana. Lakini wananunua hata huko nje bado. Yeah.
Thank you so much. You know, there's a lot of vending, like I said, but apart from vending, we also have, like I told you, some sort of a setup, you know, kiosks, or what you want to say, open restaurants, where more and more attendees are just coming to refresh, to freshen up. As you can see, there's quite some activity here. Ayub, I know you are not used to this. This is called Kibandaski. This is where some of us, you know, go for refreshments. Ayub, I know you go to high-end, you know, hotels and restaurants, to, you know, for refreshments. But this is where, you know, many Kenyans, you know, come here to, you know, get themselves sorted out, you know, as far as, you know, relieving themselves is concerned, but also because of the prices. They're talking about affordable pricing, and food is a major commodity. Let me now engage boss. Waitwa nani? Tunao kwamba unapika chapati.
Motizo.
Waitwa nani?
Morris.
Morris, hebu tuelezee shughuli ya leo ama tu biashara ya leo imekuaje?
Mimi shughuli ya leo naona iko sawa. Nataka rais aangalie majilio yetu. Hii kazi tunafanya sasa tunajua hizi.
Na kufikia sasa unaweza sema umepika chapati ngapi ama bel ngapi ya chapati, unga ngapi?
Bel moja.
Bel moja imeanguka kutoka saa ngapi?
Kutoka saa 9 usiku. Kutoka saa 9 usiku.
Kutoka saa 9 usiku umekuwa ukipika? Hebu tuelezee kuna vyakula gani vingine mbali na chapati?
Niko na rice na kuna ugali na kuna wali. Rice, ugali, nyama.
Thank you so much. So this is what's happening just outside the stadium. These are vendors. I told you about much, and there's a lot of it being sold outside the stadium, but also there is refreshment. I'm just trying to get to, try to interview one or two who have just been here trying to, refresh themselves. Hebu tueleze waitwa nani? Kushikia microphone.
Naitwa Marion.
Marion, hebu tueleze umekunywa chai ama umeitisha chakula gani?
Ndo nakunywa chai sai. Ndo niingie huko.
Chai iko wapi?
Ndio hii. Ndo nataka kunywa ndo niingie huko ndani.
Hebu tueleze ni chai unakunywa na nini?
Nimekunywa na ndizi.
Na ndizi.
Yeah.
Kwa nini umechagua kuja kukunywa chai ama kula kabla kuingia ndani kwa kiwanja?
Kwa sababu amekataza hakuna kuingia na kitu yoyote huko ndani. Sasa naanza kushibisha tumbo kwanza ndo niingie. Wametukataza hakuna hata maji kuingia nayo. Yeah.
So hakuna kuingia na maji, hakuna kuingia na soda, juice.
Wamesema tu unakunywa nje, unaingia ndani ukiwa bure. Sasa lazima utoke kama umeshiba.
Asante Madron. Hebu tuzungumze naye mwingine hapa ambaye tunaona amevaa bendera ya Kenya. Tunaona kwamba unakula, hebu tuambie unakula nini?
Mimi nakula chapati na maharagwe.
Hebu tueleze kwa nini umehisi kula hivi sasa kabla kuingia mle ndani?
Pale ndani hakuna chakula inauzwa, hakuna biashara yote inaingililia hapo. Hakuna biashara inaendelea hapo ya chakula, maji, kila kitu. Sasa kila kitu yote inaachwa huku nje.
Hebu tueleze imekugharimu pesa ngapi? Mumeambiwa hii chapati na maharage itakuwa pesa ngapi?
Hii chapati na maharagwe ni shilingi 100.
Na hiyo kulingana na wewe hiyo unaweza afford, sio?
Haki siwezi afford kwa sababu mimi ni mwanaiti wa chini kabisa. Hata kwa sasa hivi ninauza bendera. Inasemekana ya kwamba ndani kuna zingine zinapeanwa na mimi hata sina chochote. Hata sijui fare nitalipa aje nikitoka mahali hapa.
Unauza bendera pesa ngapi?
Bendera nauza shilingi 50.
Mbali na bendera unauza nini tena?
Haya, virimbi. Virimbi ndio hizi.
Asante sana. So, this is the situation outside the Neo National Stadium, but right now we're just going to walk and I take you where, the frisking is happening, because once you alight at this particular entrance, this is the common gate. We're talking about gate 3 being one of, the common gates that is being. This particular entrance is where now you can access the Langata police station of the Now Stadium police post, and right now we have the first barrier. These are majorly the National Youth Service members who are just ensuring that each and everyone is frisked. The items that are banned from accessing or from entering the stadium. We're talking about any liquid of any form, bottled waters not allowed from this particular section. If you are carrying a hand luggage, of course, it is being frisked and checked by members of the National Youth Service, and this has been the routine since the gates were opened for members to access the Neo National Stadium, and we're talking about thousands of Kenyans, ordinary Kenyans from all walks of lives who have been trooping inside the stadium just to get a glimpse of what will occasion the 62nd edition of the Jamhuri Day celebrations. We know that dignitaries also arriving at the same time. And this is what I was talking about. There's a lot of frisking. If you're carrying any bag of any manner, you are being required to at least show the details of what you are carrying. Food is not allowed inside the stadium. Water is not allowed. Any form of liquid or drinks are not allowed as well. If you're coming, you also have to, undergo this particular security protocol just to ensure that safety is guaranteed. And so it is our journey to the stadium, and I'm just keeping you posted to show you that this is actually the procedure, and I know my colleague Emmanuel To is on standby. But before I cross over to Mr. To on the other side of the event venue, I just also want to highlight that there is also emergency response teams that have been assembled here. We're talking about first aid officers from a collection of units, talking about the Kenya Red Cross, the AMREF, the St. John's ambulance. So at this particular moment, I want to cross over to my colleague, Mr. Dr. Emmanuel To, on that other side of the VIP pavilion. Mr. Emmanuel, who do you have right now? Who has arrived so far? And what time do we expect the entourage of the Commander-in-Chief, that is Dr. Samuel William Ruto?
Well, thank you very much, Seth. We are on this other side, the VIP section, which is getting busy by the minute. And we have, right now we have the leader of the majority party in the National Assembly, Kimani Ichung'wah, who is here to speak to us just quickly before we now usher in other leaders. This area from now on to around 9:40 thereabout will be very busy. Majority Leader, let me just engage you quickly. What do you make of this event, and what are your expectations from the President?
First, what I make of the event, of course, is a celebration of the courage and sacrifices of our forefathers who made huge sacrifices to get our freedom and get our nation to be the nation that we are today, a republic, self-governing, independent, and where we can shape our own course. What I expect to hear from the President, of course, is a culmination of what he started during the State of the Nation address. He did enumerate what he has already achieved in the 2.5 almost 3 years that he has been in power, and what he intends to achieve in the next 2 or so years before the next elections. And of course, beyond the elections and beyond even his term in office, in his quest to move our nation from a third world to a first world country. And I was saying I am also quite happy that there is good engagement, especially around the question of the setup of the infrastructure fund, on how we dispose of some of the assets that we have and make money out of assets that we can have, that we have been holding over the years since independence, some, and some that we have set up after independence, like Safaricom, for instance, that was privatized a few years back, and whose market capitalization now is quite good, to be able to generate for us resources that can help us to go into that infrastructure fund to be able to achieve the investments, huge investments that we need to make in energy, in the roads, dualling of roads, irrigation for agriculture, and also provision of water to many parts of the country that are still water deficient. Therefore, I am optimistic that the Kenyan people have begun to see that indeed the move from a third to a first world country is something that we can achieve within our lifetime, as the President has been saying. A little bit disappointed also that our friends in the opposition, as much as they listen, they can see the reality. I saw one yesterday saying that if you go to the Mau Summit, Rironi Road, there is not even a wheelbarrow. And I'll tell him they are not just wheelbarrows on that road, they are...
And there is the arrival of the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya, Martha Koome, at the Nyayo National Stadium. And we'll be giving you these shots once the arrivals will be happening at the dais that will also accommodate the President, who will be delivering his speech, the much awaited. from that podium. This year's chief guest of honor is the Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama, who is already in the country and who was received last evening by the Prime Cabinet Secretary on Foreign Affairs, CS Musalia Mudavadi. Seth and Emmanuel had given us a breakdown of what's happening there at the Nyayo National Stadium, and we'll be getting hold of them once we re-establish the connection with them. You're watching this special edition of the Jamhuri Day celebrations 2025 from the Nyayo National Stadium, which comes back to the venue for the first time since 2022. Here's the arrival of the Speaker of the National Assembly, Moses Masika Wetangula, doctor and senior counsel, among those who have been conferred at State House in Nairobi yesterday. And here's the arrival of Dr. Senior Counsel Moses Masika Wetangula, who is the Speaker of the National Assembly. And following in that order will be the arrival of the Speaker of the Senate, Jeffa Amason Kingi, and thereafter the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, of course, before the Prime Cabinet Secretary, then the Deputy President, and the Ghanaian President, who will be this year's chief guest of honor at these celebrations, which are for the first time happening at the Nyayo National Stadium since 2022, when the President came to power in September of that year, after the August elections themed around then ICT, and now after two consecutive events which happened at the Uhuru Gardens in Nairobi, it's coming back to the Nyayo National Stadium themed around tourism and the critical sector it does play in the country's economy. The Speaker of the Senate already there, Jeffa Amason Kingi, and welcoming the Speaker of the National Assembly, Dr. Moses Masika Wetangula. We're keeping an eye on the arrivals at the VIP gate as well as the dais that is now coming to full packing, given the President, who will be also assuming he's there before he addresses the nation once he takes to the lectern on the 62nd Jamhuri Day celebration that he will be leading the nation on. Kidi, it's optimism all over, and the Kenyans, Seth and Emmanuel had spoken to, and this is the fixation on the economy, more or less. The high cost of living is what they want addressed, and to them it doesn't matter who addresses it, but how it's addressed and when is now what's relevant ahead of a consequential election heading into 2027. 28 plus million voters who will be casting their ballot by the next election.
Yes.
I mean, what are we looking into as a country, given our very critical role in the region, in the continent, and around the world as well?
Thank you. And before I respond to that, Dr. said something, that we are still a fairly primitive society in terms of our political institutions. Dr. said that you realize that, for instance, where we come from, our fixation with the kingpin question, but you look at the challenges young people are speaking to in this country, they are looking at issues that are beyond, an ethnic kingpin and such. Across the board, young people want a capacity where the economy and the country works for them. And I'll give you an example. If you go to the NFD, the young people in NFD are only asking for one thing: give us proper institutions of higher learning in the region. They're not asking that give us money. They're not asking that we give them some preferential treatment. They told us, give us proper institutions of higher learning. For instance, in Mandera, the entire county, a vast area, there is only one post-secondary institution called Mandera TTC. The young people themselves are saying that that is not just and fair, because they want to build their own capacity to be able to then get into the economy. So that then brings me into the question you're saying that you're putting across. And to respond to that, I must say that we have got a very high unemployment rate as a society. But then when precisely at the time when you expect our political class to invest on more intelligent ways to counter that, we And again, that high unemployment rate is coupled with very low productive rates. Because you look at the entire sectors of the economy, we have reduced our people to what you'd call kadogo economy. So there are two programs that this administration under the president has proposed.
Yeah.
There was the Hustler Fund, and I think that collectively we agree that Hustler Fund is a big failure. They have now come up with the Nyota Fund. Nyota is, I think, way more better designed, more institutional, and given if life is breathed into it, it might have a chance in a small way to help us deal with the questions of the frustrations, economic frustrations within the youth space, as the government comes up with much more sustainable means. So I think that, again, the president has spoken about making this country a Singapore. I think that is something we cannot pour cold water on, because again, we must raise our sights and support our leaders when they summon the country, the collective will of the country towards hoping for a better tomorrow. But when that is done, we must quickly remind the president that there are the basics he must not forget. One of them is still the question of education. The new university funding model is denying a lot of young people the help that they need, because a lot of young people are misclassified. And then again, because of how life is, you are in this band today, you are situations have changed for the worse, and now you are locked out. So I don't know if you are you're indicating that.
Yes, please, you can finish up. Just keeping an eye on also what's happening at the stadium.
Yes, so in a nutshell, for our development to be truly transformative, we request the president and the political class that they must center the people, particularly the young people, their priorities, their issues, and their aspirations, so that they are stakeholders in that endeavor that he wants to lead the country into. Thank you.
Daktari, before I come to you, allow me to now get hold of Seth Olale, who is in the company of the Kenyan police contingent who are fresh from Port-au-Prince in Haiti. And Seth, arguably, I met this gentleman and women, somewhat so much excitement around their mission in Haiti. What's their feeling on this important day?
Well, relief and mission accomplished. You rightly mentioned you were there with them for about a week in Haiti, and right now they are back in Kenya. Remember that they were actually received by the Interior Cabinet Secretary, that is Kipchumba Murkomen. We're talking about 200 and 30 officers returning from the multinational security support mission. But I know that my colleague Gitonga is going to give you, those very, very, very detailed pictures, as far as all the 230 officers that, are now, was in the gang suppression force in Haiti, and this, is just, a relief for them. You were there under those, extreme conditions, a very risky mission as well. We know that there were casualties, also a number injured out of that particular mission. But for this particular contingent, just to be able to come home safely, it is a relief for them. They are excited, happy to be back home, following that very, very, very risky, dangerous and combative, mission in the Caribbean. And, just going back to that reception at Embassy after their arrival from Haiti, we know that they were honored and they were described as gallant officers who paid the ultimate prize in the line of duty, condoling also the officers, the head, the Inspector General of Police, like I mentioned earlier, also the President Samuel William Ruto, say that they are also condoling with their families and assuring them of government support. And so this just part and parcel of, the mission that was in Haiti. You could just see that very, very, very heavy, armory just on display. This is what, sustained them and kept them at bay and alive in Haiti during their mission and stay there. And Ayub, we saw you in the APC as well, patrolling the streets of Haiti. What would you say? What would you recall, Ayub, as being your key highlight when you are in Haiti, Ayub?
All right, Seth, in the company of the Kenyan contingent of police officers who are fresh from Port-au-Prince in Haiti and the multinational security support mission, the arrival of the Attorney General, Dr. Dorcas Oduor, there on your screens, as well as we are waiting for the arrival of couple of pictures on your screens. This is Dr. Dorcas Oduor, the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, and CS Opiyo Wandayi Energy joining her. They will be now heading to the VIP dais where they will be joining the others. Labour CS Alfred Mutua also in their company heading to the dais. The Water and Irrigation CS Engineer Muga also there. Ali Hassan Joho is also in that line. Mining CS and former Mombasa County Governor also joining. We can see now the long list of the cabinet secretaries who are joining the dais. Up next is should be getting now this whoever this is, once he or she alights from the vehicle. And there we go, is the gender CS who is also part of Helen Cheptumo, who is also part of the team. And the tourism CS is here, Rebecca Miano, who is the CS of the moment, given that the day is themed around her docket, tourism, and its key contributions to the economy. And we're also getting the others now getting off. Here is Salim Vuria, Sports and Sports Affairs Cabinet Secretary, also alighting from his vehicle. Quite a number of ministers who are now coming up. William Kafogo, also here, ICT CS, also in the company of the other ministers. We have also the Secretary to the Cabinet, Mercy Wanjau, who is joining them. She's part of the team, and also CS. We have the new CS, Geoffrey Ruku, who serves at the public service. And here comes John Badi, the National Treasury and Economic Planning Cabinet Secretary, as well as the others who will be getting off their vehicles. Here comes the Defense CS, Soipan Tuya, formerly served at Environment before her transition to Defense and succeeded. Kipchumba Oliver, Onesimus Murkomen, also the Interior National Administration CS, joining the others now, heading all the way to the VIP dais, where they will be joining the rest of their colleagues and others who are waiting for the arrival of the President. So Seth, still if you are with us, and the happy moment and the excitement on the face of the Kenyan police officers from Haiti, what have you been able to establish in talking to them? How has it been serving in the Caribbean country? Sorry for cutting you short, given the number of ministers we had to line up for our viewers.
Well, they're saying that they're happy to be home, safe, alive, but also what's key is having accomplished what they're saying is a 17-month peacekeeping mission that bore fruit. And of course, we know that there have been changes in regards to a United Nations General Assembly resolution in regards to their fate, and that is why perhaps they're back home. We know that the head of state, President William Samoei Ruto, while attending the UNGA in New York, also did mention, the successes of this particular mission, but also the challenges the officers encountered. He talked about, outdated. They talked about, outdated, vehicles, the APCs, the armored personnel carriers that, could not match, the very risky terrain in Haiti. But apart from that, to them, what they were able to accomplish did go well according to plan. 17 months of endurance. And this is where I want you, Ayub, if you're listening to me, to come in. We saw you part and parcel of that particular inspection. You took a whole week staying with these gallant soldiers in Haiti, a very risky affair. You patrolled the streets, that were actually being also manned by, the different gangs in Haiti. Ayub, if you could just tell us, because you are also in the company of these particular soldiers. Right now, before I go to you, Ayub, they're just inspecting whether, these particular guns, this heavy machinery, heavy armory, if they are loaded. Remember that they're not supposed to during their parade. Later on, they're going to be given a special recognition by the head of state during the Jamhuri Day celebrations. And right now, what they're inspecting is if those magazines you're seeing in front of me are loaded, with ammunition. But it is a standard procedure just to make sure that if you are before the head of state, this particular if you are in a ceremonial position like these particular soldiers are going to be later on, these particular guns are not supposed to be loaded with live ammunition, and so it is an inspection, a very, very thorough inspection that is ongoing right now. I wanted to ask you, actually, let me just now put this across to you, Ayub. What was your key moment, when you were traversing the streets of Haiti in the armored personnel carriers? what would you describe that particular mission? We're talking about a total of 17 months in a very, very risky and unfriendly terrain. Ayub.
Well, Seth, many thanks. Before the commentary and getting back to the studio, it's been fascinating to cover the group of gangs that calls itself Vivan Tham in Haiti and in Port-au-Prince, to be specific, and the night patrols, which were equally very interesting in circumstances that are very difficult, and under which the Kenyan contingent of police officers had managed to secure key installations, including the National Police Headquarters, the Port City, the airport, as well as the National Police Academy in Haiti, where they're also training the next batch of Haiti's police force that who will be transitioned to take charge of the country's security, given the dynamics in the former French the colony, and ideally, of course, the achievements that the Kenyan police contingent, who led the mission previously before the newly approved by the United Nations Security Council, managed to achieve in the company of course, the El Salvadorians and those from Bahamas and Jamaica, as well as other countries that had significantly contributed to that mission in Haiti. Thanks, Seth. And of course, on your screens at the moment, members of the services of the Defense Forces, the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force have taken their positions at the Nyayo National Stadium, awaiting for the arrival of their commander, who is in chief, the president, who will be inspecting the guard of honor that they have mounted. The military precision with which they are doing so is the interesting part, and the distance there and the accuracy with which they are standing and taking their positions. The other is the presidential lap of honor vehicle that will be taking him round the Nyayo National Stadium before disembarking for the national anthem and inspecting the guard of honor that has been mounted by the three services of the Kenya Defense Forces. A while ago, we also saw the arrival of Ambassador Dr. Monica Juma, the President's National Security Advisor, formerly served as a Cabinet Secretary under President Kenyatta's government in Foreign Affairs, in Interior, also as an ambassador to several countries, and now serves as President William Ruto's National Security Advisor. Let's cross over to Nyayo National Stadium and listen in before we come back to studio. Back to studio with Dr. Kenneth. A lot has been talked about there, Daktari, and so interestingly, okay, here comes the arrival of keeping an eye on the outside VIP. They're getting hold of the person who will be alighting from that vehicle. This is another arrival at the Nyayo National Stadium. Possibly the Deputy President or the Prime Cabinet Secretary.
Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. Wapi makofi ya Prime Cabinet Secretary? Tayari amefika Honorable Musalia Mudavadi. Ndio huyo tayari amefika.
So allow me now to give closer remarks to Daktari and Kidi, because any moment from now the President will be here.
Oh, okay. Are you a couple of things as we kept on talking, but before I go to the main thing I want to say, my brother described an area we call NFD. NFD is a fairly colonial nomenclature. which was actually used to justify the marginalization of that region. And even during independence, the so-called session of paper number 10
of 1965.
Is African socialism and its application to the development, there's a way it was a curse to that region, because it divided the country into the so-called high potential areas and low potential areas based on agriculture. We probably call them some of the forgotten regions of the country at the moment. Political scientists call them ungoverned species in many countries in Africa. So we need to be careful about these colonial descriptions and labels. Now, the first thing I wanted to say is about our aspiration of wanting to be an African Singapore. Ayub, the challenge is that we talk Singapore, but we act Kenyan and African. Unless we sort out that disconnect, I'm not a prophet, but I will say that 50 years from today, we're having the same talk. Singapore fixed its governance first, with the level that discipline, and meritocracy was at the center of it all. Singapore reorganized its human capital production in ways that, if you look at Singaporean universities today, are some of the best institutions that you can think of in the world. Singapore took advantage of its geopolitical positioning. I've been in this forum crying every day that Kenya is losing its hegemonic influence in the geopolitics of the region. Unless we fix those three, in my view, talking Singapore and acting African and Kenyan is not going to be very helpful. Finally, I listened to our small traders, the men and the women who own this day, with some level of genuinity, if you asked me. They speak resilience, they speak entrepreneurial genius, typical of who everyday Kenyans are. They turn scarcity into ingenuity, adversity into enterprise. That's why I'll tell you for free that at the center of our economy, it's really more than a structure, but a living and breathing hustle that everyday Kenyans are involved in. That's what makes us Kenyan, actually.
Thank you. Kide, briefly.
Daktari has said he's telling you for free. I will tell you for a fact that 67 years since independence, one thing that is clear is that we've produced a country of 125 super billionaires and 42.6 million beggars. I think far much worse than what JM described. As we sit here today marking the 67th Jamhuri, we must therefore ask ourselves very hard questions. One of them being this fancy cars we are seeing and this display of opulence in this national holiday, what does it serve? Have we been able to plug a connection between where we are and where we are coming from? During the first Jamhuri Day, Mzee Kenyatta said that ignorance, poverty, and disease were the issues. The late former Prime Minister used to add the fourth one called corruption. I have attempted to speak to it in my small voice. I hope the President would use this megaphone to engage, start a proper war against corruption. And that brings me into saying that today, as we are here, yesterday the young people launched their youth manifesto. One thing, and I must send the compliments to the government, because while previously they have engaged us with suspicion, for the first time, we saw representatives of the major political competition management institutions coming to sit with us. The National Police has always snapped our invites. For the first time, Assistant Inspector General of Police came and joined us during the launch of the manifesto. ORPP has always been willing to engage. IEBC, because these institutions are now willing to engage. As young people, we shall continue to mobilize local and global attention to the aspirations of young people, to their priorities in trying to recenter the politics of this country. Thank you.
Thank you, KD and Daktari. The President has just left State House, Nairobi, headed for the Nyayo National Stadium. His motorcade now along State House Road, shortly joining processional before joining Kenyatta Avenue and then to Uhuru Highway, which will take him straight to the Nyayo National Stadium. You're watching the live pictures coming to you from State House, and the President just left the seat of power, heading for the Nyayo National Stadium to lead the country in this year's Jamhuri Day celebrations themed around tourism, an event that culminated yesterday at the Kenyatta International Convention Center, where the head of state also participated in some of the engagements that had featured young voices who had engaged him on issues of governance. And the live pictures and the arrowhead formation of the outriders, his vehicle, of course, sandwiched between the very essence of the security granted to the head of state, being a state property, heading to lead the celebrations from the Nyayo National Stadium, where Kenyans are waiting to hear from him. Among the issues that they have raised include an instant address to the cost of living, as well as diversity appreciation of the country's mosaic of ethnic makeup and the differences in, of course, languages, which they said is not important to them other than the value of the shilling in their pocket and generally the state of the economy. The head of state has been constant with the call to take Kenya to the next level and saying that the Singapore model is what the Kenyan state will embark on. And this is despite the criticism on the part of the state for its close affinity to issues around, of course, incompetence and favoritism and nepotism, which is still very deep in the Kenyan state and its architecture, given Singapore and how it did progress under Lee Kuan Yew. And admiration, of course, some had appreciated, but also distant away from attaining that status, given the Kenyan model and how politics largely led to the dilution of institutions that have otherwise would have lifted Kenya to the heights of prosperity. The head of state has now, the motorcade of the president has taken a turn on Kenyatta Avenue. This is the section of the road still under construction, just opposite the All Saints Cathedral that is under construction. Now will be taking a turn at the Nyayo House roundabout before embarking on that short trip to the Nyayo National Stadium. At the stadium, seated are Kenyans are waiting for the head of state's arrival. His motorcade, of course, on its way to the stadium, and they're expecting a speech when he takes to the lectern that will also embody the aspirations that they have today, 62 years since 1964. And the announcements at the stadium, and you can see the pictures on your screens, the three services of the Defense Forces, the Air Force, the Navy, and the Army are waiting for the president's arrival. Of course, a guard of honor that they have mounted, and an inspection that he will do as part of a tradition that has been in the Kenyan state and celebrations, especially the Jamhuri Day celebration. The program today entails the topping of the colors. The specificity will be provided here. And now the presidential motorcade is on Uhuru Highway, which will be then in 5 to 6 minutes should be at the Nyayo National Stadium before boarding the presidential car that will take him for a lap of honor and receiving salutations from the public and also greeting them before disembarking for the national anthem, and then thereafter the inspection of the guard of honor by the head of state before taking his position at the dais to join the deputy president, the prime cabinet secretary, the cabinet, and the leadership of the country. Also, the arrival of the First Lady of the Republic of Kenya. You can see a vehicle now making a stop. And here is the Ghanaian president who is arriving, John Dramani Mahama. He is the chief guest of honor for this year's celebration, the Ghanaian, in the company of the deputy president, Professor Abraham Kithure Kindiki, Nairobi County Governor Johnson Sakaja, and Health CS Adan Duale, who had received him last evening when he touched down at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport. Of course, Accra and Nairobi do share some traits of democracy, given how they have also transitioned from one election to the other, and among the few countries in Africa that are tipped to be good models of democracy alongside Kenya. Of course, the presidential motorcade is still on Uhuru Highway as the Ghanaian President John Dramani Mahama makes his way to the seat. Here is the Chief of the Defense Forces, General Charles Kahariri, who is also waiting for the president's arrival, and he's outside the Nyayo National Stadium. He is among the few who board with the president, the presidential car for the lap of honor at the Nyayo National Stadium, and also when he disembarks and accompany the president still during the inspection of the defense forces. And in their company, as always is the military tradition, is the aide-de-camp, who is from the Kenya Army and who is with the president in the motorcade as the Chief of the Defense Forces. General Charles Kahariri waits for the arrival of this motorcade that shortly will be at the Nyayo National Stadium. Here's General Charles Kahariri at the Nyayo National Stadium. Of course, a member of the Navy of the Kenya Defense Forces. He rose to the position following the sudden demise of
Karibu Mheshimiwa Rais wa sherehe ya Jamhuri. Karibu. Wapi shangwe ya kina mama? Wapi ngemi? Peperusha bendera kwa Mheshimiwa Rais. Moja. Karibu. Karibu. Mheshimiwa Rais, utuongoze kwa sherehe ya leo. Karibu. Wanafunzi, peperusha bendera. Karibu. Mheshimiwa Rais Daktari William Ruto, hongera kwa kazi nzuri. Nyayo Stadium, sherehe ya Jamhuri. Wapi makofi wanafunzi? Karibu. Mheshimiwa Rais, utuongoze kwa sherehe ya leo. Kauli mbiu, utalii, wanyama pori na miundo msingi. Moja. Mbili. Karibu. Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa sherehe ya leo. Wapi shangwe na vigelegele wananchi? Karibu. Moja. Mbili. Karibu. Mheshimiwa Rais, utuongoze sherehe ya Jamhuri. Wapi wakoloni waone haya na aibu? Karibu. 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 Kauli mbiu, utalii, wanyama pori na maendeleo. Wapi shangwe na vigelegele wananchi watukufu? Peperusha bendera jumuiya nzima. Karibu. Pili. Peperusha bendera walio kwenye jukwaa mkono wa kulia. Karibisha Rais kwa shangwe na vigelegele. Moja. Nambari 1. Wapi makofi? Shangwe na vigelegele. Mheshimiwa Rais. Karibu. Moja. Mbili. Karibu. Jamhuri makala ya 62. Karibu. Karibu. Walio kwenye jukwaa la Rais, tumkaribishe Rais kwa makofi mabibi na mabwana. Niombe kwa hariki waliovalia kofia za chepeo tuweze kuzivua kwa heshima.
tukae na undugu, amani na uhuru, raha tupate na ustawi. Mungu twaomba uilinde Jamhuri ya Afrika Mashariki, tuwezeshe kuishi kwa amani, tutimize tumalize na malengo yetu. Jumuiya yetu sote tuilinde, tuwajibike, tuimarike. Umoja wetu ni nguzo yetu, idumu jumuiya yetu.
Wa gwaride hili sasa kija kumwomba kwa heshima Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu wa majeshi yote ya ulinzi ruhusa ya kukagua gwaride lililoandaliwa na majeshi ya ulinzi ya Kenya. Asanteni kwa heshima, naomba tuketi tafadhali. Anayemsindikiza Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya ni Mkuu wa majeshi ya ulinzi nafasi yake kwenye jukwaa maalum. Burudani fupi kutoka kwa bendi za majeshi ya ulinzi.
divisheni ya kwanza na msaidizi wake hivi sasa akiweza zamu yake hivi sasa Parade Harrison kuhakikisha kwamba divisheni hii inayosindikiza bendera ya kikosi cha 20 imenyoka na ipo tayari uwanjani siku ya leo. Zamu yao hivi sasa afisa letu kwa jukumu la kubeba bendera rasmi ya kikosi hiki pamoja na Parade Harrison kuweza kusonga mbele. Na basi Parade Harrison hivi sasa akipeana heshima zake kwa bendera kama tunavyoshuhudia hivi sasa uwanjani. Naye akiweza kupokezwa bendera hii ya kikosi cha 20 kutoka kwa wanaoweka ulinzi wa bendera. Na afisa anayebeba bendera hii rasmi siku ya leo akiweza kupeana heshima zake kwa bendera kabla ya kuweza kuregesha jambia katika ala ili naye kujiandaa kuwa tayari kwa kukabidhiwa bendera hii. Basi Parade Harrison hivi sasa akimkabidhi bendera hii afisa aliyetukwa jukumu hili la kuweza kubeba bendera ya kikosi cha 20 cha wanamiavuli na kuhakikisha kwamba ameweza kuishika sawa kabisa. Na kama ilivyo tamaduni ya kijeshi, bendera ya kikosi sharti kuweza kupewa heshima ya hali ya juu kama tunavyoshuhudia hivi sasa uwanjani, mabibi na mabwana. Kwa heshima naomba sote tusimame kwa ajili ya wimbo wa taifa. Asanteni. Kwa heshima naomba sote tuketi tafadhali.
Wananchi tutulie tafadhali, tusimtatize parade commander kwa heshima. Wananchi wazalendo tutulie.
Hivi sasa gwaride likijigawanya kwa takriban vikundi 8 ili kuweza kuwa na onyesho la bendera uwanjani siku ya leo kwa mwendo wa kinyonga na mwendo wa kasi. Divisheni hizi nazo uwanjani sharti kuwekwa sawa kutoka kwake Parade RSM. Basi baada ya kuwekwa sawa divisheni hizi, Parade RSM akiondoka kwa upesi zaidi kwa muda mchache aliweza kutunukiwa ili kuchukua nafasi yake ndani ya gwaride. Basi wananchi wazalendo, nizidi kuwaomba wakati bendera ya kikosi hiki itakapopita mbele yako, basi unaombwa kuweza kusimama ili kuweza kuipea heshima. Mheshimiwa Rais Mkuu wa gwaride hili ni Luteni Kanali Martin Mutabari Mudhaura, OGW, divisheni ya kwanza ya kikosi cha 20 cha wanamiavuli jeshi letu la nchi kavu, chini yake Major David William Bass, wakiwa katika mavazi yao rasmi ya sherehe. Afisa aliyetwikwa jukumu la kubeba bendera iliyo fahari ya kikosi cha 20 cha wanamiavuli, Luteni Kevin Kiso Ruto. Parade RSM, afisa mteule daraja la kwanza John Simoto Moiben. Divisheni ya pili wakiwa chini yake Captain Ibrahim Kihuro, wakiwa katika mavazi ya rasmi ya sherehe. Divisheni ya tatu, Mheshimiwa Rais, ipo chini yake Major Kevin Ambani Jahonga, Subaltern Officer Luteni Ngugi Gitau, wakiwa katika mavazi ya rasmi ya sherehe. Divisheni ya 4 wakiwa katika mavazi yao ya sherehe siku ya leo, wakiwa chini yake Captain Eric Evans Otieno. Mheshimiwa Rais, inafuata hivi sasa ni divisheni ya 5 ya jeshi letu la wanaanga, wakiwa chini yake Major Felix Nyoro Karanja, Subaltern Officer Luteni Mwaura Kimani, wakiwa katika mavazi ya rasmi ya sherehe. Divisheni ya 6 chini yake Captain Francis Opondo, wakiwa katika mavazi ya rasmi ya sherehe. Mheshimiwa Rais, divisheni ya 7 jeshi letu la wanamaji, wakiwa chini yake Meja Angatia Mulunda, Subaltern Officer Luteni Jasper Barongo, katika mavazi ya rasmi ya sherehe. Divisheni ya 8 chini yake Captain Edwin Wahungu, wakiwa katika mavazi ya rasmi ya sherehe. Mfawidhi wa gwaride hili, ukipenda parade adjutant, Captain Nene Mwangi, wakiweza kupita mbele ya jukwaa rasmi wakiwa katika mwendo wa kinyonga.
Ni wakati wa kuweza kuweka gwaride sawa. Wakati wake parade RSM Warrant Officer 1 John Smotwo Moiben. Baada ya gwaride kuweza kupita mbele ya jukwaa la Mheshimiwa Rais kwa mwendo wa kinyonga na mwendo wa kasi. Kwa heshima naomba sote tusimame kwa ajili ya review order. Wimbo wetu wa taifa utakaochezwa beti 3 mtawalia na heko kwa Mheshimiwa Rais. Mkuu wa gwaride hili hivi sasa akija kumwomba kwa heshima Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Amiri Jeshi Mkuu wa majeshi yote ya ulinzi idhini ya kuondoa gwaride hili uwanjani baada ya kuwa na onyesho la bendera ya kikosi cha 20 cha wana miavuli wetu sherehe za Jamhuri mwaka 2025. Asanteni, niombe kwa heshima tuketi tafadhali.
Mheshimiwa Rais, gwaride hivi sasa ikijigawanya kwa takriban vikundi 12 ili kuaga uga huu. Vile vile kama ilivyo desturi na tamaduni za kijeshi, bendera iliyo fahari ya kikosi ni sharti kwa mbele kama unavyoshuhudia hivi sasa kutoka kwake Kala Ofsa. Naye Parade RSM Warantosa 1 Johnson Moto Mwiben akiondoka kwa kasi zaidi baada ya kuhakikisha divisheni zote 12. Kwa amri hiyo hivi sasa, Mheshimiwa Rais, wanajeshi hawa wanaondoka uwanjani kwenda kuungana na wenzao katika hali ya kukamilisha wito wa majeshi yetu ya ulinzi, ulinzi daima, wito wa jeshi letu la nchi kavu, ngao ya imara angani, halikadhalika jeshi letu la wanamaji, ujasiri baharini. Baada ya gwaride la kufana katika makala ya 62 ya sherehe za Jamhuri 2025. Mheshimiwa Rais, mkuu wa gwaride hili ni Luteni Kanali Martin Motabari Mudhaura OGW, mkuu wa divisheni ya kwanza jeshi letu la nchi kavu Meja David William Bass, afisa letu kwa jukumu la kubeba bendera iliyo fahari ya kikosi cha 20 wana Nyamvuli ni Luteni Kevin Kiso Ruto. Parade RSM Warantosa 1 Johnson Moto Mwiben. Divisheni ya pili, Mheshimiwa Rais, iko chini yake Warantosa 2 Nicholas Owiti. Divisheni ya tatu, Mheshimiwa Rais, chini yake Captain Ibrahim Yuro wakiwa katika mavazi rasmi ya sherehe. Divisheni ya 4, Mheshimiwa Rais, chini yake Meja Kevin Ambani Yahonga. Inayofuata hivi sasa, Mheshimiwa Rais, divisheni ya 5 chini yake Luteni Ngugi Gitau. Divisheni ya 6 jeshi letu la nchi kavu chini yake Captain Eric Evans Otieno. Divisheni ya 7 jeshi letu la wanahewa chini yake Meja Felix Nyoro Karanja wakiwa katika mavazi rasmi ya sherehe. Divisheni ya 8 Mheshimiwa Rais chini yake Luteni Mwaura Kimani, na divisheni ya 9 chini yake Captain Francis Opondo jeshi letu la wanahewa wakiwa katika mavazi rasmi ya sherehe. Divisheni ya 9 Mheshimiwa Rais jeshi letu la wanamaji chini yake Meja Angatia Mulunda. Divisheni ya 11 chini yake Luteni Jasper Barongo wakiwa katika mavazi rasmi ya sherehe. Divisheni ya 12 Mheshimiwa Rais chini yake Captain Edwin Wahungu wakiwa katika mavazi rasmi ya sherehe. Waweka alama jeshi letu la nchi kavu Parade Adjutant Captain Nene Mwange.
Mheshimiwa Rais, ni zamu ya bendi za majeshi ya ulinzi kuondoka hapa uwanjani hivi sasa, na linafuata tamasha la ndege. Nitampisha mwenzangu aweze kutuletea tamasha hili.
Mheshimiwa Rais, kama tunavyoshuhudia kutoka mkono wako wa kushoto ni ndege za majeshi ya ulinzi, ndege aina ya Globe 120, ni ndege aina ya Skytrack ambayo ina uwezo wa kusafiri wanajeshi ndani na nje ya nchi, na pia kwa uwezo wake wa kufungua lango la nyuma huweza kutumika kuwarusha wanamiavuli ambao leo hii wametuandalia gwaride wakati wa operesheni. Ndege hizi zimeweza kutumika kuweza kuwabeba wanajeshi katika shughuli mbalimbali ambazo zimeweza kutokea. Itafuata sasa, Mheshimiwa Rais, ni ndege aina ya Dash 8 ikiwa ni ndege ya uchukuzi, ndege ambayo ina uwezo wa kusafirisha section 3 na zaidi almaarufu infantry platoon zenye takriban askari 40 na zaidi, ambazo huweza kubeba askari hao pamoja na zana zao za kivita, hivyo kuwafikisha katika maeneo ambayo yanahitajika kwa urahisi, zikiwa ni ndege za uchukuzi aina ya Dash 8, ndege ambazo hutumika kuwabeba wanajeshi wetu. Basi itafuata, Mheshimiwa Rais, ni ndege aina ya C27J Spartan kama tunavyoshuhudia kutoka mkono wa kushoto, zikiweza kupaa taratibu, ndege ambazo zina uwezo wa kubeba kundi kubwa la askari pamoja na zana nzito zaidi za kijeshi wote kwa pamoja. Na ndege hii pia imeweza kutumika kuwapa mafunzo wanamiavuli ambao leo hii pia wameweza kutuandalia gwaride, ndege hii ikiwarusha wanamiavuli takriban fiti 12,000 juu ya bahari wakati wa operesheni na pia wakati wa mafunzo, zikiwa ni ndege C27J Spartan. Basi Mheshimiwa Rais, itafuata sasa ni ndege za kivita kama tunavyoshuhudia pia kutoka upande huo huo, ndege hizi zikiwa 6 zikiweza kuunda mfumo 6 ship diamond formation, leo hii zikiwa chini ya formation lead Meja Alois Kemboi. Ndege hizi zikiweza, Mheshimiwa Rais, kuachana ili kila moja kuweza kutuletea maonyesho ya manuva hapa mbele ya jukwaa, jinsi marubani hawa huweza kukabiliana na adui angani, ardhini na pia kwenye fuo za bahari. Naomba wananchi tuweze kuwapa makofi marubani wetu wa ndege za kivita. Rubani wetu wa kwanza akiweza kutuletea basi, kisha ataweza kulaza ndege takriban degree 90, akilaza ndege kwa ubavu, kuigeuza tena kulaza ndege kwa mgongo ukipenda Charlie, na pia kugeuza ndege hii mara ya 3 na ya 4, akirejesha ndege wima pasipo kubadili mkondo. Kisha rubani wa pili atatuletea onyesho aileron roll, onyesho ambalo rubani atainua pua la ndege takriban degree 20 na kutupa mizunguko ya kushoto. Mheshimiwa Rais, rubani wetu akiwa tayari kutuletea onyesho 4-point roll, mara ya kwanza, ya pili, ya 3, kurejesha ndege wima. Tumpe makofi. Aileron roll, rubani huyu akipaa kwa kasi kama tunavyoshuhudia akija kwa umaridadi, akiweza kuinua pua la ndege hivi sasa na kuigeuza kwa umaridadi kwa haraka pasipo kubadili mkondo wa ndege. Onyesho linalofuata vertical roll. Rubani kuinua ndege takriban degree 45 kama tunavyoshuhudia hivi sasa, akipaa juu kabisa na kutupa pia misunguko ya kushoto pasipo kubadili mkondo. Tuwape makofi marubani wetu tafadhali. Linalofuata Mheshimiwa Rais ni roll off top. Rubani kupaa kwa kasi kama tunavyoshuhudia hivi sasa, kuinua pua la ndege, kupaa juu kabisa, anapofika upeo wa kupaa, kulaza ndege chali na kurudi mahali ambapo ametoka. Tumpe makofi rubani huyo tafadhali. Vertical roll, kupaa kwa kasi kama tunavyoshuhudia, huku akitupa pia mizunguko ya kushoto kwa haraka. Aileron roll, onyesho linalofuata Mheshimiwa Rais, rubani kupaa kwa kasi kama tunavyoshuhudia kutoka upande wa kushoto, akija kwa umaridadi pia kuweza kuinua pua la ndege takriban degree 20 na kutupa pia mizunguko ya kushoto. Tumpe makofi rubani huyo tafadhali kwa onyesho tamu aileron roll. Basi Mheshimiwa Rais, kwa kutufungia maonyesho ya ndege za kivita, anayefuata ni rubani atakayekuwa anatuletea onyesho high speed pass, onyesho ambalo wengi wa wananchi huweza kusikia tu sauti lakini ndege hawaioni. Naomba tuweze kuyakaza macho ili tukaweze kumpata. Amefika kwa umaridadi kabisa, sauti akiacha sauti nyuma. Sound of freedom. Tuwape makofi marubani wetu wa ndege za kivita. Mheshimiwa Rais, yatafuata sasa ni maonyesho ya ndege aina ya helikopta. Ndege hizi zikiwa ni za uchukuzi pamoja na operesheni mbalimbali. Helikopta ya kwanza ambayo itakuwa inatufungulia maonyesho leo hii ni Aisha vikosi vya dharura, ukipenda rapid response units, ambao huweza kufika katika maeneo hatari ili kuweza kutekeleza mashambulizi. Kama tunavyoona kutoka upande wa kushoto, rubani huyu akiwa ndege hii ikiwa chini ya crew captain Meja Mugendi akisaidiwa na Captain Mwangi, wakiwa wanabeba ujumbe speciali kwa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Happy Jamhuri Day. Tumpe makofi marubani huyo kwa kuweza kuleta ujumbe huo speciali kwa Jamhuri ya Kenya na Rais wa Jamhuri ya Kenya. Basi Mheshimiwa Rais, zitakazofuata sasa ni ndege aina ya Fennec ikiwa imetangulia, yenye rangi ya kijivu, na ndege aina ya Bell 206 nyeupe kwa rangi. Fennec ikiwa ni ndege ya kupiga doria na pia kuweza kufanya mashambulizi, nayo Bell 206 ikiwa ni ndege ya mafunzo kwa rubani wa ndege aina ya helikopta. Tuwape makofi marubani wetu wa ndege hizi ambazo zinapita kwa sasa. Itafuata sasa Mheshimiwa Rais ni helikopta speciali ambazo zina uwezo wa kuelea hewani kwa muda mrefu zaidi ili kuwaruhusu wanajeshi kushuka kwa mikamba speciali. Helikopta ambayo inatangulia Mheshimiwa Rais ni MI-171E ikiwa inafuatwa na 139 Westland Augusta, ndege ambazo hutumika kuingia katika eneo la maoperesheni kwa kuruhusu wanajeshi kushuka kwa mikamba, zoezi rappelling. Basi zitakazofuata Mheshimiwa Rais ni ndege aina ya Huey ikiwa na Cobra, Huey ikiwa imetangulia na Cobra ikiwa imefuata, zikiwa ni helikopta za kuongeza nguvu kwa wanajeshi wanaopigana ardhini na pia kwenye fuo za bahari huweza kushambulia ngome. Tunafungiwa Mheshimiwa Rais maonyesho ya ndege leo hii na ndege aina ya Huey ikiwa imebeba bango na MD530 kutoka jeshi letu la nchi kavu, zikiwa ni helikopta za mashambulizi leo hii kutoka jeshi letu la nchi kavu, zikiwa ni Kenya Army Corps of Aviation. Mheshimiwa Rais,
na huo ndio utakuwa mwisho wa tamasha zetu za kijeshi kwa pamoja. Ningependa kuwashukuru Brigedia Mohamed Ahmed Saman, Kanali Frederick Serem Brigadier Collins Mitoko, Major Charles Obong, Major Matthew Lorot Ingoland, Silver Star. Niweze kushukuru Defense Forces Sergeant Major, Warrant Officer 1 Bwana Haji Omar, Kenya Army Sergeant Major, Warrant Officer 1 Joel Murage, Kenya Air Force Sergeant Major, Warrant Officer 1 Franco Leparsalachi, na bila kumsahau Naval Sergeant Major, Warrant Officer 1 Musa Abdi.
Basi maonyesho ya ndege tuliweza kuletewa na Overall Formation Lead Lieutenant Kanali George Kimaita Rintari akisaidiwa na Deputy Formation Lead Major Clifford Mtiria.
Your Excellency, today we celebrate the first cohort of the officers that served in the multinational security support mission in Haiti. These gallant officers arrived home on Tuesday, 9th December 2025 after serving in Haiti for 17 months and 9 days. In the period of their service, they were part of the 740 Kenya, 150 from Guatemala, 78 from El Salvador, 25 from Jamaica, 3 from Bahamas, and 2 from Belize. This mission was performed splendidly, forming a basis for successor missions. The gang suppression force is headed by a Kenyan Assistant Inspector of Police, Geoffrey Otunge. The mission has made significant progress, including reclaiming key infrastructure, including the international airport, the seaport, and the National Palace, among others. These positive developments reaffirm Kenya's belief for the beginning of international solidarity in critical restoration of dignity of Haiti and its people. In the course of the mission, 3 of our officers paid the ultimate price. To them, we owe a debt of gratitude and confirm this deep loss will never be in vain. We remember them and are humbled by their sacrifice. We honor them and pray that their souls will rest in eternal peace. Na sasa ni mpishe mwenzangu Sergeant Misango Mbai atueleze zaidi kuhusiana na kikosi hiki. Sergeant Misango.
Asante sana ndugu Mike Gitonga. Mheshimiwa Rais, unavyoshuhudia hivi sasa wakija kwa umaridadi ni polisi wa taifa la Kenya wakiongozwa na General Service Unit, kisha wakifuatwa kwa ukaribu na wenzao wa Border Police Unit. Mheshimiwa Rais, unavyoshuhudia wamebeba bendera ya polisi, kisha bendera ya Kenya Police Service na hali kadhalika Administration Police Service. Mheshimiwa Rais, nitaomba tuweze kuwapa mashujaa hawa makofi mazuri baada ya kutoka nchini Haiti, baada ya kutekeleza wajibu wao kwa takriban miezi 18. Wananchi wazalendo, tuwape mashujaa hawa makofi mazuri. Mheshimiwa Rais, ulipowapa amri, wengi walidhani ndivyo sivyo, kwamba hatungeweza kusaidia taifa la Haiti kuweza kurejesha hali ya usalama kuwa thabiti. Lakini hii leo Mheshimiwa Rais, ulivyosikia mwenzangu alivyosema kwa lugha ya Kimombo, miundo misingi ikiwemo seaport na hali kadhalika uwanja wa ndege umeanza kufanya kazi, kwa sababu wanajeshi askari hawa wa Kenya, ama ukipenda jeshi la polisi la Kenya, liliweza kushika doria nchini Haiti na kuhakikisha kwamba tunarudi na ushindi. Tuwashangilie kwa makofi mazuri wanapopeana heshima yao mbele ya jukwaa la Mheshimiwa Rais aliye amri jeshi mkuu, aliyewaamuru kwenda kutekeleza wajibu huo. Mheshimiwa Rais, mkuu wa kikundi cha kwanza cha General Service Unit, Chief Inspector John Lekuye akisaidiwa na Inspector Charles Arogo anayebeba bendera ya National Police Service, Senior Sergeant Dominic Maina, wakiwa katika magwanda yao mepesi ya kivita. Platoon ya pili, Mheshimiwa Rais, chini yake Inspector Joseph Kirago. Platoon ya tatu, General Service Unit, chini yake Chief Inspector Wesley Bet. Mheshimiwa Rais, Border Police Unit, chini yake Chief Inspector David Mburu akisaidiana na Inspector Samuel Mnene. Platoon ya pili ya Border Police Unit, chini yake Chief Inspector Dick Onzarigo. Kutufungia Mheshimiwa Rais, platoon ya tatu, chini yake Chief Inspector Hussein Shaban. Tuwashangilie kwa makofi mazuri wanapoondoka. Na Mheshimiwa Rais, nichukue fursa hii kuweza kukushukuru wewe kama Amiri Jeshi Mkuu, na hali kadhalika kumshukuru Inspector General wa Polisi Bwana Douglas Kirocho Kanja, nishukuru naibu wake Bwana David Lagat, Eliud Lagat, na hali kadhalika Bwana Gilbert Masengeli